is the Big O Show. This 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 is the Big O Show.
There's just one place to get our lowest payment on the new 2025 Acura RDX, $399 a month. It's the Season of Performance event at Acura of Pembroke Pines, #1 in the USA.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
Oh, great. You have a doorbell camera. Now you have a front row seat to your house getting robbed.
They're breaking into my house!
Ooh, there goes the TV. I'm sure it'll turn up at the pawn shop.
No, not the TV!
Just because you can see them, that doesn't mean you can stop them.
With Slogans, you get 24-hour monitoring, a free home security system, and professional installation.
Plus, free doorbell camera, one that'll actually work for you.
Get out of my house! Get out of the house!
Call 1-800-ALARM-ME.
The lost city of Atlantis reveals its secrets at Toyota of Hollywood. Get legendary deals on over 2,000 Toyotas, like a 2024 Corolla, not $24,000, $20,988. Unlock the wonders of 0% financing for 5 full years, 0 down. Rediscover Atlantis at Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
It starts every morning before the sun comes up. Projects are laid out. Plans are made. Equipment is fueled and loaded with inventory to handle all service requests. Orders are given to an army of skilled landscape maintenance professionals, certified arbor trimmers, irrigation technicians, and licensed pest management experts who fan out to communities and businesses all over South Florida. Experienced, on time, and dependable. Our staff is fully trained, licensed, and insured. Contact us by phone, email, social media, or through our website to answer all your landscape questions. We are Cutter's Edge. Total Landscape Solutions.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
There's just one place to get our lowest payment on the new 2025 Acura Integra. $289 a month. It's the Season of Performance event at Acura of Pembroke Pines. #1 in the USA.
After 40 years, the Big Cheese Miami is still producing great Italian food. They started in 1984. Since then, they've been winning awards while being voted the best inexpensive Italian restaurant in Miami. Visit them for great food, amazing service. Witness the decades of Cane's memories. The walls are like a Miami Hurricanes Hall of Fame. The Big Cheese delivers anything on its menu or party platter menu to your home, office, or even a park for a picnic. Located at 8080 Southwest 67th Avenue, Miami. Call 305-662-6855. TheBigCheeseMiami.com, where they serve large portions at family prices.
Hi, this is Jeff Welt from Welt & Rayom. Dan and I have been in business together for over 22 years. We're not your typical lawyers. When Dan's not working in the office, he's flying his stunt plane. When I'm not in the office, I'm either getting tattooed, bowling, riding a motorcycle, or going to concerts. We might not be your typical attorneys, but we are aggressive attorneys, and we'll do whatever it takes to get you what you deserve. Consultations are always free. Call us anytime, 24/7.
Welt & Rayom can help.
There's just one place to get our lowest payment on the new 2024 Acura ZDX. $299 a month. It's the Season of Performance event at Acura of Pembroke Pines. #1 in the USA.
If you're looking to take your home or business to the next level, then RM Contractors and Custom Drywall can assist you. RM specializes in new residential turnkey, new commercial turnkey, home and office remodeling. Call them for free estimates. Serving all of South Florida, licensed and insured. Call Ray or Mike, 305-345-3649. You work hard to create the perfect atmosphere. You dream it, we'll build it. RM Contractors and Custom Drywall, 305-345-3649 or Instagram at RMC Fisher Island.
The viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. The game is final. Tua and the boys are in the locker room. Let's go over what happened in this game in our Dolphins Postgame Show with Big O. The Postgame Show is brought to you by Welt & Rayom, Acura of Pembroke Pines, Hialeah Park Casino, Toyota of Hollywood, RM Contractors. The stats are final. The insiders are ready. The platform is mastered by the one and only Sean Stanley. Now, let's find out what the Big O thinks about this matchup as we start our Dolphins Postgame Show. Here's Big O.
Yeah, baby. We still suck, but we won. That's all that matters, baby. That's all that matters. You beat the stinking Jets. Aaron Rodgers can go into some stinking dark-ass room and get lost, okay? Shanae Woodley and every other woman in his life would be really happy. So just go into that dark room and get lost, although we have to deal with that idiot in a couple more weeks. But we were on the edge of our seats. We were worried. We were concerned. I got to admit, I thought we were going to lose this one. I thought the boys are going to lose this one. I'm like, come on, bro. I don't expect you guys to win the next 5. You know, you got this doofus on the sidelines. He's not going to do it. But they overcame. Tua's not the problem, so I don't care what anybody tells me, but it's just, woo! Man, I was close, man. Too close. It sucks that we have to kind of even deal with this game like this, but this is who our boys are. You know what I mean? And you have to admit, we all thought they were going down in flames at one moment there. We were like, oh, my God, this is not looking good. This is looking like a loss. The defense looks terrible, which they still look terrible. Holland doesn't look like himself. Jalen Ramsey's getting burned. You know, you're like, what the hell is going on here? it was screwed up, but they found a way. They found a way and they got it done. Tyreek looks like the wrist is better. You see some of the catches; they weren't body catches. He wasn't basket catching. And Jonnu Smith, that was a beautiful pass across the field to find Jonnu there in the end zone. That was absolutely awesome. Tua was terrific. Tua's not the problem. 33 of 47, 331, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. The only time Tua is really a problem is when he thinks he's an athlete. And that's it. If he could actually go by the words he said this week, which I can't trust because he's a crazy bastard. If he wasn't a crazy bastard, then I can understand him. But he's a psycho, and he'll do anything to win a game. He'll sacrifice anything to win a game, which sucks. You do that for the season. Oh, we're back? Okay. All right, because we kind of went out there. So, good stuff, at least. They won. All right. Because, man. I don't know if I wanted to deal with a Jets loss. Kind of expecting a loss down the line or two, but not at home either. That's the last thing you want to do. Lose at home to the stinking Jets. It's not what you want to do. Jason Sanders coming through. I know he missed the extra point earlier in the game, but he hit some big field goals. So that was good. Malik Washington's return. That was a 48-yard kickoff return. And by the way, the kicker, what is it? Anders Carlson or something. That boy got trucked. So that was good. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and be happy about the season or happy about this game. Or I'm happy they won, and I'm happy they beat the Jets. In the big picture, I'm still miserable. I still think the season's a waste, and it sucks, and it hurts because I think the talent was better to perform way better than this. But I am really, really happy they won today and beat the stinking Jets. Okay, because this is one of those games you just don't want to lose. You all would have been chiming in, let's go, we got to fire McDaniel right now. And you and I know they're not going to do that and all that stuff, but that's exactly what would have gone on. It was automatic. Tua, 33 of 47, 331 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Achane had only 14 rushes for 24 yards and a touchdown, but he was terrific as a receiver, 6 for 45. I didn't like that you gave Achane 14 carries to Jalen Wright's 2. And by the way, Jalen Wright in 2 carries got 33% of the yardage pretty much that Achane had. So you might as well have given Jalen Wright a little bit. If you're going to use Achane as a receiver, bring a little bit more of the hammer with Jalen Wright. And you know that Mostert wasn't playing. I'm not understanding the limitations of Jalen Wright. And by the way, who's the future now? Okay, Jalen Wright's more of the future, not Mostert. Mostert will not be in the plans next year to be the number 1. Okay, he's not durable enough to be that. Yeah, he's a terrific person. He had a marvelous year last year. The stars aligned for him, and he had a season of all seasons, one that he can hang his hat on, and, it'll be stories for him for the rest of his life. And fantastic. It'll be something that you and I could never accomplish even in our dreams. But it was, a shot in the dark. That's it. I'd like to see more of Jalen Wright in that one. Tyreek Hill, nice to see him, 10 receptions, 115 yards, picked up the touchdown. Waddle, 9 for 99. Achane, 6 for 45, as we talked about. And then Jonnu Smith, 3 for 44, and the big touchdown there at the end to seal the deal in overtime. That was cool. That was cool. To win that game in overtime was a really, really cool thing for Miami, and especially for all of us. You know what I mean? Because we're all suffering through all of this. You know what I'm saying? It's been rough. Sean, let's start off with the super chats there. Remember, you can make a donation, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show, Cash App or Venmo. And you can make a Bitcoin or Ethereum donation. And, of course, you can also make a donation through PayPal. Use the QR codes there. Man of 1,005 hosts says, thank goodness the Jets are idiots and didn't bother to run it 3 times at the end. Great game by Tua and company. Defense overall sucked but made plays. The defense sucked, and then at the end, they got stops. That was actually the cool thing, that they came up with multiple stops at the end. That was actually pretty cool. And they're still terrible, but, you know, what are you going to do? Holland is just, from those 2 knee injuries last year, he's not the same player, man. Kevin Beal, that win had nothing to do with Mike McDaniel. Tua had made Mike. I still don't want Mike back. Our run game is garbage. Dump the coach. Fantastic QB. Win, baby. Yeah. Tua is not the problem, dude. It's just you're running the wrong offense around the kid. You got to run a power running offense. You got to use your tight ends. And then the rest, you know, go get a defense, obviously, and you'll be fine. But this whole, let me run a pass-happy offense and all that kind of shit, McDaniel doesn't know what the hell he's doing. And he forgets the running game. He still did it today. Next up, it is Jamie Sapolniskov. What is it? Sapoznikov. Jamie Sapoznikov. Hold on to Jonnu Smith for the next few years. He's definitely a keeper. P.S. We need to upgrade the D-line. Very limited pressure. Yeah. And also no pass rush. So you've got to get your pass rushers back. That also helps. Man, Chop almost got injured on a stupid freak play. Ridiculous. All right, let me get to Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. Cash App or Venmo. Let's start with True Fin Fan. How long does it take to get Smith the ball? The beginning of the year, they weren't throwing it to him at all. Then they finally figured it out. And then, you know, it's just, there's no consistency with McDaniel. So I can't explain it, True Fin Fan. And thank you, my friend. Abel Rodriguez, thank you for the love on Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show, Cash App or Venmo. He says victory cigars for Jonnu Smith and Malik Washington. Sean Stanley, I agree with Abel Rodriguez. Let's give Jonnu Smith and Malik Washington some victory cigars. Agree. Let's give the Dolphins a victory cigar. Let's give Tua a victory cigar. Let's give Tyreek a victory cigar. Waddle, 9 catches, 99 yards. Victory cigar. True Fin Fan, again on Cash App. Thank you, True Fin Fan. I think you're right. We will lose in New York. Yeah, this game doesn't bode well for our team in New York, by the way. If it takes overtime to barely beat them, something tells me the one in New York is not going to be pretty. So, yeah, I would, True Fin Fan, I would agree with you on that one. Yeah, unfortunately. Joe Cracchiola, thank you for the love on Venmo, sir. Big O, let's put it aside. All the negativity, bad play, blown coverages, win or lose. That was classic Dolphins Jets. I'm going to sit back and enjoy a Perdomo. Love the show. Thank you, Joe. And give Joe a victory there with Perdomo. Love it. Anthony Lizzie. What's the name of this outfit? We're the Lizzies. Anthony Lizzie says, can't believe we almost let the Jets beat us. Actually, I can because I've been a fan for so long. McDaniel, sloppy again. D was trash except for Sealer. Tua was solid. Win is a win. Yep. It's the only way we can look at it, man. A win is a win, and we got to live with it and take it and just, appreciate that we got to win because it was looking bad. It was looking bad. Let's admit, it was looking really, really bad. Okay? I mean, to me, I laugh when they're putting the Dolphins inside the playoff conversation. It's stupid. We're completely out of it, but I get it because mathematically today they eliminated the Jets. Really? Seriously? Today? Really? Come on. It's that kind of crap, but don't lose to the Jets, dude. And at home, oh my God. Come on, man. You can't lose to the Jets. Next up there, Sean, on the Super Chats, it is Andrew Watson. I almost had a toxic fart up until the turtle head came through with that big moment for Tua at the end, and the touchdown throw in the game was a dime placed between multiple defenders. Tua was great. Tua's not the problem, bro. Tua's never been the problem. He's only a problem when he thinks he can be a football player, and he wants to take on tacklers, and he wants to go tackle somebody, and he wants to hold on to the ball for 5 or 10 seconds back there and get himself killed and all that kind of crap. That's when Tua is a problem. At that moment, Tua is a problem. But when he actually wants to play the position of just quarterback and a passer, he's fine. He's going to do a terrific job for you. The problem is, do you know what to do around him? Next up, it is Manny J. Snow. This win feels so mediocre. I'll take it, I guess. Manny, we all don't feel guilty for feeling like that. We all feel that way. We're all Dolphin fans. We're all completely unhappy and unsatisfied with the season. We know the season's over. We know we're just counting down the weeks, dude. We know what the inevitable is, right? And we know this win means nothing in the big picture, that it's going to take you anywhere or it means anything. No, dude. But we're not here to root against the Dolphins. Okay, that's not what we do here. Okay, if they lose, then we'll deal with it. If they're not good enough, we'll deal with it. If they choke, we'll deal with it. But we're not sitting here, hey, let's root for the Jets. No, that's not what we're doing. So, and out of all the games, this is one that you cannot lose. And you almost lost it. And that's the other thing, Manny J. Snow. You lost this game to a certain extent. The fact that you needed overtime to beat them, it's pathetic. Overtime at home to beat the Jets. It's pathetic. But this is where we're at. Let's take we'll take the win. We'll take it. Next up, Sean. It is Dylan Bailey not liking the way Achane is being utilized in early downs. He is not between the tackle back with consistency. May I say gimmick back, feed right. You are preaching to the choir. This is what he does. He allows them to overuse Jalen Phillips' injury. You overuse Calais Campbell. You have Chubb in a game late last year for no reason at all in a meaningless game. Technically, whether you want to admit it or not, the season is shit. And you've already overloaded Achane and Mostert is out. How is it that you're not giving Jalen Wright way more carries than you did today? Because he's also part of your future. Then again, we're talking about the same coach that signs Jonnu Smith, uses him throughout minicamp, training camp, and the preseason like crazy. And we're all going, wow, all right, they're going to feature the tight end. And the guy disappears for the first month of the season. Not his fault, as you can tell. It's their fault, the head coach specifically. And then somehow the light went on after the injury to Tua. oh, maybe I should use my tight end. Not just for my backup shitty quarterbacks, but also for my starter too. This is the guy that's your head coach. Next up, Frankie Fresco. The Dolphins are so bad, it took us overtime to beat the Jets. Don't worry, the Texans will put us out of our. They were already out. You have hope or something, Frankie? Come on, bro. The season's been over for weeks. Weeks. It's like 6 weeks or something like that the season's been over. How long was the Colts game? When was it? I think I wrote it down. October 20th versus the Colts. That's the day the season ended. That was the official day the season ended. Those 3 games that they won, the Green Bay game proved that those games were bullshit. Season's been over, dude. There's no hope. Next up, but thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. I'm happy they won, but come on, we're not. No, they're mediocre. They're the same what they've been, Frankie. Middling. They're not absolutely terrible, and they're not good enough to be playoff caliber. They're right in the middle. It's what they've always been for 30 years. So, yeah. Next up, Toxic Fart. Andrew Watson, you rang. I did the lurch for you. Next up, Leon Fresco. Chris Greer gutted our defense, barely hanging on. Need to rebuild entire middle of defense, tackles, linebackers, safety. Linebackers were you changed defensive coordinators, so you changed again. So they didn't fit what he had initially, and that's why you even had to cut a guy in the middle of the season. This is what happens. You keep changing coaches, and you can't find the right one. And if this guy goes, then you'll bring in a new one, and whatever pieces you have won't fit. Now, again, I'm not with paying Christian Wilkins that money. You can't have it both ways. Oh, they should have paid Christian Wilkins. Why? He's not a pass rusher, and he got injured. Has he played lately? Did he come back finally? Can't have it both ways, dude. You know what I mean? Yeah, they need it, but Christian Wilkins was not the answer at that money. So I get it. Can't believe Rodgers had Olivia Munn. Yep. And couldn't come in the clutch against her. Yep. Yep. You should see how she talks about him. You need to find some interviews. Let's see what else. I didn't think they were going to lose. I knew they were. LOL. Glad to be wrong. All right, next up, what do we have here? Humble legend. Just say no to hopium. It's, it's silliness. That's all. And I get when some in the media are doing it because they're afraid that the fan is going to tune them out or something like that, which it could happen to a certain extent. But I also think that on the flip side, the fan, a lot of them, not all, but a lot of them will appreciate your honesty because a lot of them will end up seeing it the same way you do in the end. Next up is, okay, now we go to Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. Sean Harris, thank you, sir, for the Venmo. Big O, you've been saying it all season, but once again, Tua saved a lot of people's jobs this afternoon. He's there. Yeah, McDaniel is trying to get everybody fired, and Tua's trying to save as many jobs as possible. Isn't it weird? It's like it's so odd. Ocala Joe, thank you for the love on Cash App. Oh, sweet win, still hating, irritating Maury's ass. I think you're Maury's ass. You're talking about like McDee's. Is that what you're saying? But yes. Thank you, Ocala Joe. Appreciate you. Rough sledding, man. That's all I can tell you all. Rough sledding for us. It's one of those where it just leaves you a little frustrated. You know what I'm saying? Just a little frustrated. Stefan Berg on PayPal. Big O, what are we doing with Holland after this season? I like him a lot, but this year he hasn't been the force of the last 2 or 3 years. That's Stefan Berg on PayPal. And again, you can send your comments, questions, insults, compliments, PayPal, Cash App, or Venmo. Obviously, great way to support the channel. I thought for sure he would come back. I love Javon Holland as a player. Something happened to him with those knee injuries last year. Not sure what it is, but he has not looked like the same player. That's all I can tell you. So he may not come back next year, or you tag him since it's a cheap tag. Maybe that's what you do with him. You say, hey, man, you haven't played well. You haven't been healthy. You, unfortunately, because he wasn't an injury-prone player. Again, it's like our environment. You can pick up injury-prone players, and maybe they stay injury-prone here. But you'll pick up normal players, and then all of a sudden they'll get injuries here. It's the weirdest thing. Tough players will choke here. I don't know what to tell you. It's the weirdest thing. Our environment, for whatever it is, doesn't matter what kind of player you are, you'll be different here. And then when you leave, you'll go back to being what you were or something. It's just odd. But Javon Holland wasn't even an injury-prone guy, and now the last 2 years he's had injuries. And I have to, as much as I like Javon Holland, since those 2 knee injuries, and maybe the worst thing he did was try to play through those knee injuries, he's not the same player, dude. He's not. So thank you, Stefan. I appreciate you on PayPal. Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal. Cash App and PayPal, it's Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. Cash App or Venmo. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As always. What else do we have here? Jose Reyes on Cash App. Hold on a second. Here we go. Jose Reyes, thank you for the Bitcoin. Appreciate you, sir. Very kind. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You know a way to this man's heart right there. You make a Bitcoin donation. That's how you do it. He says the Jets suck. And I agree, Jose Reyes. Thank you, my friend. Very nice of you. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. Little Bitcoin donation. Let's see. Big O, they won, but 6-7, and Denver 8-5. I don't think we're gonna make and draft Shiloh Sanders, or you mean Shedeur Sanders, not Shiloh, with that first round pick. Yeah, if you draft Shiloh, then yeah, everybody should be fired. But if you draft Shedeur, it's a whole different ballgame. Anyway, but yeah, we're not getting Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward, by the way. And by the way, I'm not looking to replace Tua. You know, so I wouldn't do that. I'd get a badass lineman with that pick, is what I would do. A dominating defensive lineman or offensive interior lineman. That's what I would do. Because I've got the tackles. I got Paul and I got Jackson. So you're set at tackle. So you either get a mauling guard, because you're going to be in the middle of the first round, or you get a mauling defensive tackle. But you better get an interior lineman, and a really good one, next year. You need to start changing, specifically on the defensive side. You know, because you're going to get your pass rushers back, but you still need some help next to Sealer. And you're going to lose Calais Campbell. And by the way, for the record, if this whole thing ends up happening, that you just outright release Calais because you're out of the, officially out of the playoffs, I'm going to be royally pissed, because you should have then traded him weeks ago for the 4th or 5th round or whatever reportedly it was. I don't give a shit if it was 4th or 5th. I would have easily traded Calais Campbell for that. Your season was over. To even think that you can save the season at this point is absolutely asinine. You've got to be a moron. Okay? So that I'm going to be really pissed if you do that. And by the way, I feel really bad for Calais Campbell, because he came here thinking he had a chance, and you basically misled the man, and the poor man now has played his ass off for you, and he's got nothing to show for it. I think that's garbage. Brian Nobles, thank you, sir, for the love on Cash App. He says, I enjoy the show. Keep up the good work. Appreciate you, sir. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. Cash App or Venmo. And you can use the QR codes, and you can also make a donation through PayPal too, which is always a beautiful thing if you want to make a donation through PayPal. R&M Contractors and Custom Drywall, Ray and Mike, they know how to get it done. Call them 305-345-3649 for a complete remodel. If you're looking to redo your home, redo maybe just the kitchen, redo your condo, which right now a lot of folks are going through some issues with condos. Well, waterproofing your terrace, your balcony, a flood test report, all those things are incredibly important, and we'll help you out with insurance. And you got to make sure you do it right. Not only the flood test report, you also got to make sure it drains properly. Call R&M Contractors, Ray and Mike. They know how to get it done. 305-345-3649 for R&M Contractors and Custom Drywall. All right. McDaniel needs to implement a direct snap Wildcat package for goal line situations. Well, I would like McDaniel just to dedicate himself to the run, Todd. In order for you to get to the point that you're a Wildcat guy, I just want you to know, you first have to have an attitude of running. You understand that, right, Todd? And to end it, just like you said, I don't care what anybody says. You don't get to just run out of the wind when you aren't running and aren't dedicated to it. But when you line up every day, every week, every year with the attitude that you're going to put your hand on the ground and you're going to put the guy in front of you on his ass, and that they're going to have to deal with 30 runs a game no matter what happens. And when you're really got it going on, you're going to deal with 40 runs plus a game because we enjoy beating your ass down. That's the attitude you got to have before you can install a Wildcat. You know why? Because, Todd, and I don't care what you say, if you're not running in the beginning of the game and you're just pass happy, and then all of a sudden you want to start running in the third quarter, that's not going to happen for a team like this that is soft. If you're a team that is a tough, hard-nosed running team at all times, and you happen to go pass happy for a quarter or a half, you can get back to who you are because it's in your DNA. It's in your disposition. But if your disposition isn't about running, my brother, it ain't going to help you when the quarterback's over there lined up at wide receiver taking one man out of the box, and now that's one less man to block. That's one less man to worry about, and all of a sudden, the Wildcat will not work the same way. So in order for the Wildcat to be a threat, your offensive lineman, your offensive running game must be a threat, and I don't care what you say. So you can't just implement the Wildcat just pulling it out of your ass, and you just can't start running when you're not normally a running team. And that's the problem with Mike McDaniel. Since he has never truly dedicated to the run, he has never sold it to the NFL that they will run it down your throats. Why? Because the NFL is absolutely convinced that Mike McDaniel will be a pass-happy mofo, and so will you, and so will I, because that's what he's proven. So your Wildcat theory, it's nice gimmick to add, but it only helps when you've got a running team like Kansas City, like Baltimore, like Minnesota, like Green Bay, like San Francisco, teams that actually try to dedicate themselves to the run over the years. Pittsburgh, you'll be able to pull it off with that because they have that physical disposition already there. And so they are already a threat on every down to run. Think about that. When you play these kind of teams, Cleveland, who loves to run the ball, your defensive linemen, your linebackers are always thinking about the run. When you're playing against Miami, you're never thinking run anymore. And that's why they never get their running game going, because you're not a threat. There's no respect for that game. And so what happened? Achane, 14 for 24. Would you like me to pull up the team numbers, Todd? If you have team numbers of rushing of 19 for 44 for 2.3 yards per carry, your Wildcat ain't going to work. Those are the facts, my brother. That's football. That's football 101. So first run the ball, then you can do other things with running the ball. But if you think you're just going to surprise people and all of a sudden turn it on like that, nah. The Dolphins are so obvious that if you put a guy back there, then they know what's coming already. And it's like, fill the gap and it's over. It's not like you actually put a guy in Wildcat there that actually can pass and you're trying to trick them into, oh, it's obvious they're going to run, and then all of a sudden you freak them out with a pass. That's not the case either. That's not what's going on. So we will disagree, and I don't care what you say. True Fin fan, thank you for the love on the super chat. Class in session, Todd. You're welcome. Let's see what else. It was Greer's decision to not sign any offensive guards this offseason. Even he laughed at us for being concerned about going into the offseason with Robert Jones and Eichenberg as starters. Greer sucks. Oh. St. Michel, I can't argue with anybody, holy. So, you that's unfair, St. Michel. You're coming into a chat board and, you're a saint. And am I supposed to pick on a saint? Hey, I can't do that, bro. Point taken. Amen. Uncle Grandpa's in the house, and he wants to remind you that the Bills suck. What a mouth on Uncle Grandpa. Let's see. JG says, getting Tyreek was the worst thing that could have happened to McDaniel. He became obsessed with passing once Greer traded for him and lost all common sense regarding the run. Well, he kind of did that his first year too. So, it's, yeah. I don't know, man. McDaniel, I'm not going to blame Tyreek for McDaniel's bad decisions. You understand? Because the Jonnu Smith stuff or Gesicki have nothing to do with that. The fact that you don't stick to a running game really has nothing to do with that. The fact that you lose challenges all the time has nothing to do with that. There's a lot of things. The pre-snap penalties have nothing to do with that. There's a lot of stuff that happens with Mike McDaniel that I'm just not going to let it slide just at one thing and blame it. Oh, no, this is why he has issues, only because of Tyreek. Tyreek has his own issues that he's got to worry about personally. And then professionally, he's also got some issues on the field that he's got to worry about because it takes away from his consistencies. It creates inconsistencies. So everybody's got their own issues. What the real issue, and again, this is not hindsight, okay? I said this before it happened. What they should have never done was guarantee Tyreek more money. They should have let the deal go, and after this season ends, you let him go. Now you're stuck with him another extra season as he's aging, and you don't even know how to coach it up to take advantage of him anymore. I mean, they look at his numbers this year. That's not what you paid for. That was the mistake. The mistake was guaranteeing him all that, because remember, not only do you have to stay with him another year, after you let him go, you will take a cap hit after that. Instead, you could have just been moving on after this season. No more guaranteed money. That was the mistake. And again, that's not hindsight. I'm on record saying that. That was a mistake. And by the way, all of you that came at me on that one, remember what I said then, right? You know, sometimes these things have a tendency to look like I'm wrong at the moment, and then it turns out that I was right. Okay? Go trade X-Men after the 10 interceptions. Oh, I'm wrong at the moment, and then I was right. Trade Jimmy Butler 2 years ago. Oh, he's wrong. No, he's wrong. Now I'm right. Okay? Do it all the time. Because it's obvious. The newest one is Tyler Hero, right? That's the newest one. That I've said, hey, if Tyler Hero can stay healthy, which is nearly impossible for him, but somehow or another, if he can stay healthy over the next 2 months before that trading deadline, don't get drunk on this performance here. Move him if you can get something for him. Do it now. Don't get stuck with that contract, and don't wait for the next injury, because you probably will never get anything for him again until he's an expiring contract. And since you'll be able to get Jimmy Butler next year and expiring, you'll be able to start getting liquid. That's the newest one. Okay? But, you know, Tyler has shot decent, so right now I look like an idiot for saying it. Just like I look like an idiot for saying don't guarantee Tyreek after back-to-back 1,700-yard seasons. O's a hater. No. I just am a realist, and I see it, and I know what this is. You got to get off the gravy train at the right time. So they failed to do it with X. They failed to do it with Butler. They failed to do it with Tyreek. Hopefully the Heat won't fail to do it with Hero coming up. Hopefully they're smart enough to take advantage of this window if it happens, because we're still 2 months away from that. To ask Tyler Hero to stay healthy for 2 more months, that's a lot already as it is, so we'll see. But so the Tyreek thing has been the real mistake, guaranteeing him, you know. And if you were worried how he was going to act because you didn't guarantee, too bad, bro. Too bad. And if he's not smart enough to figure out, bro, you better act right, or if not, after they do cut you this season, you'll have nobody out there to give you big money. You kind of had him by the balls, but they let him control the situation because they were worried about how he would act if he didn't have the money. And unfortunately, you gave him the money, and now it's not paying off. So Phil Quinn says, Big O, if you had the choice to either keep both Greer and McDaniel or fire both of them, what would you do? Yeah, no, that's not an option for me. It's not an option for me. My only option right now would be to fire McDaniel. I would keep the front office. As much as a lot of you want to fire the front office, I would keep the front office. Now, they need help hiring a coach because they have not done a good job of hiring the coach. And then the coaches that they hired, now they ruined the window for these players. Because now you've got, that's why I say a Vrabel is like the only shot you have to fix that last year of this window. That's next year, before you really have to break everything up. That's the guy that I would bring in, Vrabel. And then you make some interior adjustments, and then you go for it. That's what I would do. But this guy, yeah. We got a holding call on every nice run today. Yeah, it's not a well-coached team, unfortunately. Justice Maldonado. Thank you, sir, for the love on the super chat. Got to value these few wins we get this year, especially against the Jets. Tua continues to prove the haters wrong. Holland has looked awful, but Brooks might be my favorite acquisition all offseason. Although Brooks, bro, you're celebrating after you caught Rodgers the second time. So the 40-year-old jukes your ass, and then able to catch up to him and get him, and then you go celebrating like that's some accomplishment. Yeah. Zach Morgan says XRP all the way. He comes out of nowhere with that one. I love it. I love it. If it wasn't for crypto, this football season would be, forget it. It would drive me crazy. Corso Traven. Oh, I'm scared. You're right about Greer. I want him gone so bad, but you still have faith in him and McKenzie and Allen. Why? Well, I like overall, like their talent acquisitions. The problem is you had the wrong coach and ruined everything. Didn't have people in the right positions. Couldn't get the defensive coordinator position, settled in. So now you had to make changes. And maybe the worst thing they did was leave Boyer and inherit it and let him. And then you end up getting Fangio for 1 year and you lose him. And then you get this other guy and it's too many changes, on defense. And it doesn't allow you to settle in with any players because you keep changing the scheme from Boyer to Fangio to Weaver now. And that puts your front office behind the eight ball. But again, what happened to the front office? They hired the wrong coach. They hired the wrong head coach in Flo, and they now hired the wrong head coach in McD. That's the part I cannot defend the front office. And so then it's become a vicious cycle, and it's come back to bite them in the ass because of the constant changes. And then this year, you start a year where your two defensive ends are gone, and you get one back, and he's on one leg, and you overplay him. And then you're counting on two rookies. One's on the field, one can't even make it on the field, but they're in their rookie years. What are you expecting? Not much. I think Chop will be a much better player next year. But that's kind of the progress, unfortunately. And Kamara will end up getting better, hopefully, but it'll be as a backup, as a reserve role. And this was the year where he was going to get some playing time, and he couldn't even get on the field to get some playing time to get experience, or get enough experience. And then if you get rid of Weaver and you bring somebody else in, and it just becomes a vicious cycle. It's just brutal. And that's where I can't defend the guys I like in the front office because of the bad coaching decisions. It has created a real problem for them. And it's just a vicious cycle. And it's hard. Sorry. At least on offense, they've been able to keep the same people, but McDaniel's not a good coach. So you still have all kinds of mistakes. That timeout that you burnt earlier in the second half. Why? Because people weren't prepared. And you're all pissed off and you're throwing your headset. But, bro, that's your guys that are out of place. That's the people you coach. That's your fault. This is a problem that you've had for 3 years. So, yeah, I'm torn, man. I'm torn. Vrabel's going to want personnel control. Yeah, probably, Tyon. Probably he will want. But the good thing with Greer is he'll work with his head coach. That, I think, has been the demise for the front office, is that they bend too much for their coaches. And instead, they should make more decisions on their own without the coaches. But to your point, this is actually the front office you want, because they'll work with you and get you what you want. So it's actually not a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? When we didn't hear Pierre Paul's name much in place of Armstead. Patrick Paul, by the way. The front office blames Tua for hiring McDaniel. Okay. Anyone here watching the Bills versus Rams? LA playing great. All right. You see any news and notes out there, Sean, just in case? From any of the writers or any kind of breaking news, any comments from the great Mike McDaniel? Hateful Steve is in the house. He says, no one's saying Tua is the only problem. He beat the Jets and sorry-ass Rodgers. I'll gladly be the only guy who's not impressed because if the Jets kick the ball out of the end zone in the fourth quarter, it's game over. Yeah, but ifs don't count. They only count in hand grenades and horseshoes. Maybe in year 7 or 8 or after 3 coaches, 2 GMs, multiple offensive schemes, when Tua still has a terrible record against plus 500 teams, will finally run out of people to blame. This is what it's going to be. That's how it is. You know what I mean? People aren't going to believe in the kid like Steve M. But again, I don't even think he's even close to being the problem on this team. If you actually had a real football team that was built the right way around him, I think it would be completely different. But unfortunately, they don't know how to build it. And they have the wrong coach and doesn't have an understanding of how to run an NFL offense. And so here we are, unfortunately. And yes, everybody wants Vrabel, and I get it, but who knows at this point? Who knows? Sloman's Home Shield. If they had 5 Alarmos on the line and 4 more on the D line, they would be dominating, I'm telling you. Because he comes with that shield, too. That kind of helps out. I don't know if they'd call us for any penalties on that one. But anyway, Sloman's Home Security. They understand the importance of security. Hey, we have it in our home. Sean has it in his home. We're in like 14 different states. Call them 1-800-ALARM-ME. They're offering a free home security system with free installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. The free system, by the way, includes a panel and keyboard, up to 10 door contacts, window decal, lawn sign, professional installation, lifetime service, communication device, and backup battery. Sloman's Home Security offers top-of-the-line home security systems. They're designed to detect intruders, alert the authorities, and give you real-time updates right to your smartphone. 24/7 protection. And by the way, the smoke alarms are amazing because we've set them off a couple of times with us cooking at times, and they call like within a second of that thing ringing. It's impressive. Reach out to my friends at Sloman's Home Security, 1-800-ALARM-ME. See if they're in your state and tell them that Big O sent you. They will take care of you. And please support the amazing sponsors that keep our platform going every single day. We are awaiting. Hey, by the way, Sean, send links to the guys because I'm not sure if I sent them links now that I'm remembering. So we will be getting Chris Perkins and David Feronis shortly. They should be getting out of the locker room here in a minute, and we'll talk to them and have some fun. Big O, the Dolphins won today, and Bitcoin is at 100,000 again. Everything in the world is right again. LOL. Yeah. Cy Loveall says, we are the Hawk Tua crypto coin of the NFL. Yeah, isn't it? Yeah. And you saw the rug pull on that one? It's like 50, 60 million, and then it got pulled right away. Like, why would anybody buy shit coins? And that's what we call, things like that, the Hawk Tua girl coin and all that. That's what we call it. We call it shit coins. On Venmo, Peter German. Thank you, sir. Big O, take the painful W. This O-line is still awful. Also questionable play calling, not using Jonnu Smith to the fourth quarter makes no sense. And Jalen Wright, only a couple carries on a day that maybe you need a little bit more of a hammer there. Overusing Achane. Achan's not a big guy. He's gotten banged up, even concussion. McDaniel is not responsible when it comes to the way he runs his offense. Okay? Not responsible. That's the way I would put it. Pretty screwed up, huh? Not responsible. That's not really what you want to be called, but that's exactly what it is. The Dolphins, with or without McDaniel, are a mediocre team. Very true. The mediocre team is beyond the coach. That's why the front office needs to go. You know, as much as I like him, and I don't want to get rid of him, I can't argue with Frankie. Can't argue with any of you guys because the results aren't there. So I don't have much to stand on, unfortunately. You know what I mean? Even though I wouldn't get rid of him, I would only get rid of the head coach. I think he's really a real major problem here. But those of you that are complaining about the front office, dude, I totally understand it. Completely understand. And I'm not going to tell you, oh, you're wrong. If you think Tua can't play, yeah, and that I'm convinced you're wrong. Tua's not the problem on this team. All the quarterbacks we've had after Marino are not even close to Tua. Not even close to Tua. But, you know, if you don't run the right offense, I can't help you. And if you ran the right offense, you can dominate with that kid. He's such an exceptional passer. He just has to stop doing the stupid stuff. If Tua stays away from the stupid stuff, then we'll be all right. Big O, without the Jets and Pats in the same division, we may never make it to 500. Hey, man, listen, whatever it takes. In the end, I already told you, towards the middle of the season, I think it was, I was telling you that it all comes down to every season, no matter the coach. Go back and look at it. It's 6 or 7 games. Literally. Go back and look at every season. 6 or 7 games defines their year. And what I mean by go look at it and you'll see the 6 or 7 good teams on the roster that year. And go look at their record against those 6 or 7 teams. And it doesn't matter if it's Joe Philbin. It doesn't matter if it's Jimmy Johnson or Dave Wannstedt or Adam Gase or Brian Flores or Mike McDaniel. It doesn't matter what coach it is. Go look. Every year there's 6 or 7 games, and the number is 6 or 7 most every time. There's a couple times there might be a 5 in there. But pretty much it's like 6 or 7. It blows you away, dude. Just go look at it. I did that. You remember when I did that? Did you even make that a segment? No, right? I doubt it. Did you? I don't know. But it's funny how that works out. I did it and I explained it to people and I gave them all kinds of examples, different years, the 6 or 7 games. And it's like, it's so freaky. Basically, on your schedule, you will have 6 or 7 good teams that you need to beat. So you need to have a winning record against those. And back in the early Shula days, you used to have a winning record against those teams. That's why you used to win double digits all the time and first round buys and all that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? Number 1 seeds and stuff like that. That's how it was with Shula. And then we became that team. And we've been that team ever since. But it's funny. You go look at it, and it'll blow you away how many times it's just 6 or 7 real quality games that are on your schedule. Those are the ones. And then just look at it, and you're constantly with the losing record, and then look at your season, what it is. It's either a losing season, a 500 season, or barely getting into the playoffs but getting bounced right. That's the end results from it all. All right, we love Welt and Rayom, Jeff Welt and Daniel Rayom. They know how to get it done. 954-966-4646. Condo damage, criminal defense, commercial litigation, personal injury, bankruptcy. Call Jeff Welt and Daniel Rayom. 954-966-4646. Let's go with Mr. David Furones and our Welt and Rheaume Miami Dolphins postgame report.
All rise, football fans, as the Welt and Rheaume Miami Dolphins report with David Furones is in session.
Welt and Rheaume has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They are committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. Here's Miami Dolphins insider David Furones.
All right, my man. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Hey, and the Dolphins are staying alive. As ugly as that one was for 15 minutes, the hopium continues.
Yeah, the hopium continues. I don't think they're alive at all. I think they're as dead as it gets. This is the game that kind of reminds you the one in New York will probably be a loss if you play like this, unfortunately. But, the thing that I still come away with, if you actually had the right team around the kid, Tua is not the problem for me. It's just not. If you had a power running team, which is what he needs, and you have a decent defense, and by the way, you let him throw to the tight end, like you finally figured out at the end of the game, you'll be fine. But the other stuff has got to be fixed, and that defense today, Jesus, wow, that was bad. That was bad.
Yeah, against a Jets team that has been so inept on that side of the ball, a Jets team that was without Breece Hall. It's, one of two of its most potent weapons that they have on offense, and still Aaron Rodgers, had his way for a lot of this, and some of those drives out there on the field, 49 for one of them. That one was just demoralizing to the defense and the team, and I felt it was going definitely the wrong way at that point. Dolphins then at least did rebound later, getting a couple 3-and-outs that were key, got the touchdown and the 2-point conversion, but then even then with all that momentum still didn't get the go-ahead score. And then the Jets sure enough had them on the ropes, and actually it was a lot of the Jets misdoings at the end. Aaron Rodgers getting sacked, and then the play that goes out of bounds to Devontae Adams. Credit Kendall Fuller for forcing him out on that play. Saved 40 seconds just on that alone, because the Dolphins were already without a timeout. So credit to him. And then also Malik Washington, big return, get into field goal range. Jason Sanders comes through, and then Tua wins it in overtime. More to your point that Tua, even with some things not exactly aligned perfectly for him, he still came through at the biggest moments.
Zero running game, dude. It's hard to win without a running game.
2.3 yards per attempt today.
Yeah, running games are such a gift to a quarterback. It makes life easy for any quarterback, young, veteran. I don't give a shit who you are. And when you don't run and you're not a threat, and that's where, again, it's like, bro, where's Jalen Wright? Come on, dude. Mostert wasn't playing today. Why is so much overuse of Achane? I get it. You're going to use him as a receiver too. Okay, but use Jalen Wright a little bit more at running back. I didn't understand that when he.
Yeah. He only had 2 carries. Jeff Wilson had 1 late, and it was just such a surprise to even hear his name and see him out there. More power running could have been to the Dolphins' benefit this game. You didn't see that. It almost feels like sort of like hard-headed, like they're just going to stick to their ways. And this game did not need to be as tight as it was, but very fortunate that this team did escape this one and keeps hope alive for another week out of these last 5, where it's basically must win every week.
Yeah, exactly. It is must win. I don't think that you're really going to get in anyway when it's all said and done. I think it's must win more to save jobs.
Yeah, there's that aspect. Yeah,
that's really what it's more about. I think your season's dead as it is. I don't think you're really going to get in when it's all said and done. You have no tiebreakers. You're way behind the 8 ball as it is. You need so many things to happen in front of you before you even have a chance. It's not just about you winning games. It's about a whole bunch of other things going on. to me, I think it's kind of horseshit. But it's really more about trying to save jobs from the front office to the coaching staff, scouts, because they're outside of the trainers and the media staff, they're the only two groups that are safe. If, Mike McDaniel has serious failure here down the stretch, I don't think anybody is safe at that point, to be quite honest.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would stick to my point that I think they're committed to this core. So I know I say it every week, but
3 of the next 4 now, right? They have 4 left now, right?
They have 4 left.
Okay, so if they lose 2 or 3 of the next 4,
then it's shaky. Yeah. Okay. Well, 2. Yeah, 2. I mean, 3 out of 4 definitely it starts getting shaky. There's
I had
hot seat talk. Yeah.
I was thinking either 2 or 3 out of the last 5. You won 1. So I got to stay with the 2 or 3 out of the last 4.
Yeah. Which really, on paper, was the easiest one.
Right.
Jets at home. Yeah.
Right, Jets at home. So if you lose 2 of the next 4, I don't know if everybody comes back now at that point.
Yeah. Well, then you're looking at it would be 8 and 9, and then I think they're just going to fall back on the argument of, well, we had 2 out for those 4 games. It was 1 and 3 there. That sends you 2 games down. You would have been 10 and 7 otherwise, and then also you lost the first 2 when Tua came back. So maybe if he was in a better rhythm, you would have had him. And I still go back to the IR placement where I think if you had him in the Indianapolis game, he wins that one. And then also I think second game back to a wins that Arizona game, even though it turned into a little bit of a shootout with the defense didn't play very well in that one. But I still think second game back to it with the way we saw him at Buffalo that next Sunday, I think he would have beaten Arizona even in a shootout.
Did we see the changing of the guard today? Will Patrick Paul be your starter the rest of the way?
Well, that depends on Teron Armstead. So that's still Armstead's job as long as he's available. But Patrick Paul, at least he played well enough. Mike McDaniel said that he didn't have to play call around him. So that's good. And then you did see him pave the way for the Devon Achane touchdown early on. So some good things there. I don't think there were too many breakdowns in pass protection. I mean, at least Tua didn't get sacked, and he was dropping back so much, 47 times in this game. So, would have to look deeper into O-line, but Patrick Paul held up nicely there. So good performance to get thrown in there early in the game when, you think, well, you're only available as a backup and Armstead's up. He's playing as he's nursing that knee injury. But, and tough to see for Armstead. We saw sort of like that frustration towel over his head that the CBS cameras caught. So hopefully not too serious, but he felt like he could give it a go, and then he tried twice in this game, and then I guess couldn't with that knee. So hopefully he gets right.
Well, the way I look at it, your season's toast already. Okay.
Yeah, because you're saying that already, but
I said that.
Right. I think until it really is that, they won't start looking at it that way.
After the Colts lost, the season was toast. We're already at this point now that you're not going anywhere. And what do you want to do? Play Patrick Paul next year without any playing time? Armstead's done. He's done. He's leaving. He's gone. He's history. He's in their archives. So if he wants to play a little, maybe you rotate him in and out a little bit. But if I'm them, I'm playing Patrick Paul more. I'll give you another example. Que pinta Raheem Mostert, bro? Que pinta? Nothing. It's time. He had the year of all years last year. He can tell his grandkids and his kids and everybody about what he had one year and scoring 20 touchdowns. Fantastic. He's not the future. Jalen Wright is. Today you had an opportunity for a 1-2 punch to start developing that, and that's what you should be doing for the rest of the way. Let's start giving Jalen Wright more carries. I mean, if you're going to commit to the constant screw-up that is Julian Hill, well then, you know what I'm saying? If you're going to constantly commit, and the guy caught a ball today, so hey, congratulations. But if you're going to constantly commit to the constant screw-up that is Julian Hill, well, why don't you commit to Jalen Wright and Patrick Paul now for the future?
Yeah. Well, the Dolphins wouldn't see it that way until they are eliminated. I don't think so. So until they're keeping hopes alive and this hopium runs, and right now it's 2 games out with 4 weeks remaining. They're not looking at it that way.
That's them. How about you? Will you agree with me? You disagree? What would you do?
Until you're out, then you wouldn't transition into that. So for me, so I would do the same thing. Yeah, I'm playing Armstead. I'm trying to win.
So you're not playing Jalen Wright?
Huh? Well, I mean, I would get Jalen Wright more incorporated because I think it would help them win. Okay. I think it would help them win now anyway. So I would like to see Jalen Wright more incorporated to bring some balance with him, and then the speed and outside zone abilities of Achane on top of his passing abilities, make it more of a balance with the two.
Doesn't it help that Patrick Paul, if he's not a negative, isn't it better to develop the guy that is consistent at staying healthy right now? If Patrick Paul can stay healthy for you, Armstead can't, and he constantly puts you in flux. And so now you're putting a young guy in a position where he comes in cold and has to adjust. Why not let the old man come in every once in a while and let him just be part of the rotation a little bit, since he can adjust on the fly a lot easier for the old man? At this point, I'm saying for the rest of the games that are left, I would start Patrick Paul and use Armstead occasionally is what I would do.
Yeah, I think it's what level Armstead is able to play at, because earlier this season he was playing at a Pro Bowl level, like Pro Football Focus #1 rated tackle, stuff like that. I'd have to get an update on where he is now. I'd imagine he's dropped, because I know the Green Bay game was a little tough on him, and then obviously this one went out very quickly. So I believe if he's not hurting the team by playing through that knee, then go ahead and send him out, because you still have him at that caliber and a more reliable, consistent player than a rookie that you're trying to develop. But if he's ever hurting the team because he's trying to muscle through it and just can't do it, then then I would turn to Patrick Paul. But it could be a blessing in disguise if you can't go and send T-Sted out there. Then yes, you do get the benefit of developing a Patrick Paul with the live game reps.
Dude, I'm a big Javon Holland guy, and I'm starting to think that those 2 knee injuries from last year, that shit has lingered, and he's never been the same. He hasn't been the same player after those injuries. And I'm watching him, and wow, it's I think you maybe tag him next year. You certainly don't give him a contract.
You would want to tag him, but the tag would be a hefty price. I got to look it up, but
safeties aren't that big. But
yeah, right. I mean, relative to other positions, but still, it'd be a hefty price for him, especially what you've seen recently. So, I don't know. I'm not sure where I stand on him. I think I might let him walk and just go ahead and get your money.
I understand. I totally understand that.
With what we're saying.
I can't argue with you on that one. If you let him walk, that's cool. I get it. I probably would tag him just for a year, because maybe, he can kind of get back, because I love him, bro. I think he's a fantastic player, but man, he's not himself, dude. He's not himself.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, because I started covering the team when his rookie year, so my 4 years so far are aligned with his 4 years, and this is not what we had seen from him in the past, and I know those knees were an issue last year, and maybe there's something to that, but also just mentally it seems, and maybe it is a mental hurdle for him. But sometimes you're just seeing plays where there's a blocker, and then he's got an angle to the ball carrier. There was one that sticks in my mind specifically, and then maybe the touchdown run as well. But there was one occasion where he just went and engaged into the blocker, almost like, all right, this is now my excuse to not make the play because I got blocked. But he went into the blocker instead of trying to go and pursue the ball carrier and letting him go right by him, where Jalen Ramsey had the outside and he was on the inside, could go to the ball carrier, and I forgot who was on that play. But point is, he just went and engaged into the blocker when the ball carrier was running to his side. So it was mind-boggling to me. But maybe there's a mental hurdle there. His play right now in a contract year is just not worthy of bringing back.
No, it's not. It's not, unfortunately. And I'm a big fan of his, but wow, I have to be objective about it. Listen, I'm glad they won today. I didn't think they were going to win down the stretch. It was looking pretty ugly. But you know what? As bad as the defense was, I'll give them a little love. Down the stretch, they got a couple of important stops that allowed the offense to get the points back to get back into the game. So as bad as the defense was, I got to give them a little love that they at least came up with a couple of key stops at the end.
Yeah. Giving up 26 to the Jets is not where you want to be defensively. No. But, I mentioned that 7:49 drive, third quarter. That took up a lot of it. That was rough to see, and it resulted in a field goal. But I mean, they had scored the first possession coming out of the half, and then you give up that long drive. But then credit to the defense, like you said, that after that fourth quarter, it was back-to-back 3 and outs. Now the next time they do give up the drive that sets up the go-ahead field goal, but also just situationally there were some Jets mishaps. They're already in field goal range. They are tackled for loss. Then Aaron Rodgers takes a sack, and then the throw that they complete to make it a better field goal attempt, they end up getting forced out of bounds. Good play by Kendall Fuller, situationally being aware and saving the Dolphins 40 seconds there, because without those, then you need that Malik Washington return, and then you basically got one play to maybe get into field goal range without a timeout. You can't even do it inbounds. So
happy for Malik, bro, because he's had some rough moments this year as a rookie. You know, he had the muff last week, right?
Yeah.
So it's just kind of, and I like him as a player. He can play, dude. He's got a little moxie to him. But he has had to fight through adversity. So that was really cool for him to get that return.
Yeah. And in the locker room in Green Bay, for a rookie, he had some really mature responses post-game there, just owning up to it. And sure, I mean, he has to be down on himself, but just carrying himself with somewhat still of a confidence, like he's going to correct that mistake and redeem himself. And then he did so in a big way his very next game that he plays. In a clutch moment. So credit to him.
Tough kid, and that was a huge play to save the Dolphins. All right, what do you got going on in the Sentinel so folks can check you out?
Yeah, I think I'm writing Jonnu Smith making the big plays late after he went without a reception in all of regulation. So big to see him come through there at the end. And then wrapping up coverage of this game, Tua's performance, and now the updated outlook going into the final 4 weeks of the season.
All right, follow him on Twitter at @DavidForonis_. And, of course, if you need lawyers you can count on, Bookend Tackles that know how to get it done. Maybe the Dolphins should sign them. Jeff Welt and Daniel Rayom, 954-966-4646. Bankruptcy, homeowner property damage, condo damage, criminal defense, business owner claims, commercial litigation, personal injury. Reach out to Jeff Welt and Daniel Rayom. The consultation is free. 954-966-4646.
This has been another session of the Welton Rayom Miami Dolphins Report with David Furones. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. They handle complex personal injury claims caused by the fault of another in both state and federal courts. They handle auto, trucking, motorcycle slip and fall, and bicycle accidents. Call 954-966-4646. Welton Rayom can help.
All right. Thank you all out there. As always, don't forget Toyota of Hollywood is a proud sponsor of our program. And please visit Herbie Lopez and the great people out there at Toyota of Hollywood. They know how to get it done. 1841 North State Road 7. We'll be there this Wednesday, broadcasting live starting off at noon. If you're looking for, let's say, a Corolla, my daughter drives a beautiful Corolla. They've got the Cross, the Hybrid, the LE, the SE, the hatchback. They've got the RAV4. Man, where the RAV4 started, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago to where it's at now, I mean, it is awesome. They've got a hybrid. They've got the XLE, which is absolutely beautiful. Camry hybrid. Toyota Crown, the Prius, the Prime, so many great vehicles. The Supra, obviously, if you're into a little bit of sports car. out there, go, of course, and check out my friends at Toyota of Hollywood, 1841 North State Road 7. They got a service center that is just absolutely amazing. A couple of restaurants inside, so while you're hanging out, we'll have a little pizza, Subways, got a couple of restaurants in there, a big old lounge area so you can relax, watch TV, get something to drink. Go check it out, Toyota of Hollywood. All right. What else? This week, by the way, Tuesday, Caneswear, 2655, right? South University Drive in Davie. We'll be there starting off at 11 a.m. Then Wednesday, the aforementioned Toyota of Hollywood. Thursday, we will be at Hialeah Park like we always are. Okay, and remember, you can use that QR code to get your $100 no-regret first bet. They just gave away another car last week, 2 weekends ago, a Mercedes-Benz. So check it out. They're always giving away something. And if you have a Hard Rock account, don't use the same phone number or email. Use that QR code or go through the Hialeah Park website, open up your account and make your bet, and you'll get your $100 no-regret first bet, and you're off and running with that $100. How about that? And by the way, I thought today, the Vegas had it -6. It ended up with a tie. Vegas is amazing, dude. Vegas is amazing. Yes, sir.
Do you want to hear the first half stats of the Chicago Bears?
Let's see. 24-0 total yards, 319-4. Passer rating, Brock Purdy, 155.8. Caleb Williams, 70.7. The Niners allowed 1 sack. The Bears allowed 4. Is that what you're talking about? I saw that, dude. I was like, holy shit. But, I mean, we're in the middle of a Dolphins thing, so I don't know to bring it up or not. But, yeah, I saw that, and it was holy.
Well, that should make us feel better. Look at that first half.
Yeah, it was. It's bad. Yeah, I saw that. Oh, man. True Fin Fan says, Patrick Paul is a beast. He's young and really good and preparing for the cap. Armstead, Hill, Holland, Mostert would all be gone if it was up to me. No tag, no restructuring, gone. I can't argue with that. I just have a little hope that he can get back to getting healthy and being the guy he was before, who can be a real difference maker for you. New York fan says, winning the overtime coin toss was huge. Bro, just winning. Just winning. I know what you're saying, because then you put the Dolphin defense out there on the field, and Rodgers could literally drive down the field and end the game. I get what you're saying, but just winning it, man. Yeah, Zach Sealer's sacks were definitely clutch. There's no doubt about it. Big O, next Sunday is my big 4-0 birthday. I hope the Dolphins can win. Brother, any day, any week that they can win is a blessing, because I thought today was going to be a loss for sure. All right, let's get to our EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins postgame report with the one and only Chris Perkins.
Time to go to the locker room, Miami Dolphins fans. Let's find out what's percolating with the one and only Chris Perkins in our EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins postgame report.
All right. There he is, the Perk man, ready to go. Perk. Boy, the Dolphin Nation was at the edge of their seats. It looked like this was going to be a loss, and they pulled the victory out of the jaws of defeat. That was good.
Yeah, no, you know what, Big O? Obviously, it's better to win than lose. You don't want to go to overtime against the Jets. That's the thing. At home, you don't want to do that. You want to see more. You want to stick it to them. You want this game to be over by the middle of the third quarter. That's not what we saw today. What we saw was some good resilience, a good fighting spirit, and that's what I'm writing about tomorrow. I've always liked the fighting spirit of this team. I've always complimented their fighting spirit, whether it was the 5-game losing streak of 2022 or all those late season defensive losses last year. This team never quits. They might not win a playoff game. They might not beat good teams all the time, but this team never quits. And I like that, and I respect that about this team. And we saw that from all three phases today. No, it was not aesthetically beautiful, but they came away with a gritty overtime victory, and that's what we have to celebrate.
And that is the test for McDaniel down the stretch, because your season's over. Yep. I don't care what anybody tells me. I know mathematically and all that bullshit, but you ain't making the playoffs. And players must know that too. Overall, they got to feel like their window's pretty much closed. But because of that, that's when you get people quitting and moving on and all that. Mm-hmm. So that's where his test will be as a coach down the stretch, if he can keep these guys focused. And this one was easy. If you play like this, you will lose in New York, by the way.
Yeah. And maybe Cleveland.
And, oh, man, definitely Cleveland. And, unless Jameis comes in with his Santa Claus hat.
Trying to eat W's.
You get an interception and you get a good stick. If he comes in like Oprah,
that's right.
Then maybe Miami's got a shot. But that Cleveland game is going to be a really difficult game, dude. So this was kind of the easier game out of the stretch that you have, and keeping these guys focused is going to be very, very important. And you just don't know if one more loss just kind of teeters them to that point. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think it will. And look, I've said this from the start, that this team has a good attitude. Again, you can debate how good this team is, but their attitude, they've never quit. And there's been plenty of times when they could quit due to injuries, due to a losing streak, due to whatever, and they haven't. And so, I give them a puncher's chance of making the playoffs. It's grim. I'm not thinking that they're going to make the playoffs. I'm thinking it's probably looking maybe like a 9-win season, 8-win season. But let's see how this thing plays out. This team is not going to quit, and I will credit guys such as Teron Armstead, Big O. And I asked Mike McDaniel about this post game, that Teron comes off the field, and at one point I see him whip his helmet off, and you can tell he's frustrated. But I look on the sideline, and at one point he's giving Patrick Paul pointers, and at another point he's giving Chop Robinson pointers. And it's just like, when you see this kind of stuff, Raheem Mostert still in it, Durham Smythe still in it, and it's stuff like that this goes beyond Mike McDaniel. Exactly, Big O. That's
credit to the front office.
Correct.
Also getting character human beings in the locker room that are going to be professional all the way to the end.
Yep. And Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel have selected a good team. I've said this. It's a very low knucklehead factor. There's not a lot of idiots in that locker room, and you see that at times like now, and in games like today. You see it at 2-6. You see it at 1-3. So, let's give some credit. I know playoff hopes are grim, but let's give some credit about the fighting spirit and what we saw today. These guys are still in the fight, and that's not an easy thing.
No, I'm with you there. And to me, I thought Tua played a terrific game.
Yep.
To me, Tua reminds me I just don't think he's the problem. I think if the team was built the right way around him with a power running game.
Yes. Thank you, Big O.
Yeah, and a defense like Alabama, in other words. If you do the same thing, you have a power running game, keep the pressure off of him that way, he's going to kill deadly passing, dude.
Yeah.
His accuracy is just, I think his accuracy is not appreciated enough by some people in the Dolphin Nation. I think they take it for granted, actually, considering you've gone through John Beck and Ray Lucas and Cleo Lemon and, all these other people over the years. I don't think people really appreciate that and his anticipatory skills.
Yeah, and you know what? I think people would appreciate it more if it added up to more. And so today, as well as Tua has been playing, to me, the best football of his career since he's been back from the concussion. The Dolphins are 4-3. And so that's your problem there. It's not a matter of whose fault it is. Really, it's a matter of it's your responsibility. It goes on you as the quarterback. It goes on you as the coach. It goes on you as the GM. In baseball, it goes on you as the starting pitcher. That's just kind of the way it is. And so, for everything good that you can see about Tua and that you can say about Tua, no playoff victories, 6-7 record this year, 4-3 record when he's been playing the best ball of his career. And so it's one of those things where you have to see better results to give him more credit. It's not his fault, but it's his responsibility.
No, it goes on his resume, unfortunately.
Right. That's the way it goes.
It is what it is. It goes on his record. I get it. But again,
he's playing great.
I'm smart enough to see the big picture that if certain pieces were there, or if I take him out and put him on a team that actually does commit to the run and has defense, he'll be absolutely killing it, because it's you can have Geno Smith with the Jets, and then you can have Geno Smith in Seattle. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes the environment is, Rich Gannon.
Right.
Was just a guy floating around Minnesota and Kansas City. And then all of a sudden he goes to the Raiders and he's in the perfect system and he becomes an MVP. So sometimes you got to be in the right system and complemented. Like if you put Tua in the 70s where Greasy was.
Yeah. Or look, you put him. What did Russell Wilson do in Seattle that was so great? He had beast mode and he had the Legion of Boom. He was good, but he didn't make them. He made sure they didn't screw it up, but he didn't make them. And so yes, I wanted to see the run game with Tua, that strong running game. And a couple of years ago, I was a big Dalvin Cook advocate. Turned out that wasn't the good move, but it was the right thought. Dalvin Cook was spent. But you still need that power runner. You still need that element to take pressure off.
Yeah. It's the whole disposition of the franchise.
Correct. You're right. You're exactly right.
It's not the disposition of the Baltimore Ravens. It's not the disposition of the
Pittsburgh
Steelers, of the Green Bay Packers.
Right.
Philly,
San Francisco. Yeah.
Philly, They have a history that they will dedicate themselves to the run no matter what. And we have just not seen that since the 70s and all the way up until the very early 80s. It was like really the toughness of the Dolphins ended in Woodstock. Once you started in Marino, you started in finesse land, and you left the running game behind, and you left defenses behind, and it's almost like a lot of, while it's a little different, it's kind of the same shit that's been going on now. You're still the same kind of team that's finesse and you can't punch people in the mouth. And then when somebody's physical with you, you can't. It's John Riggins running you over. Or it's whatever happens now. It hasn't changed, dude.
Yeah, and we saw that today, Big O, where they can't run it in from the 1 or the 2 yard line. You have to throw it to Tyreek, and you got the touchdown. That's fine, but cold weather, high wind, rain, just a tough physical disposition. That's what you need that run game for. You need to tell people, look, here's what we're going to do. You can't stop us. We're about to dominate you, and there's nothing you can do about it. And that's where I want to see this team get. Not just the offense, Big O. I want to see it with the defense too, right? 4-man pass rush. We don't need to trick anything up. We're coming at you. We don't need blitzes. Man-to-man defense, press. We're up in your face. We're physical. We're aggressive. We're going to stop you, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's the mentality I want to see this team get while you have so much talent.
Okay, so now I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Furones, and he had a very good answer that I can give it its respect. I'll disagree to a certain extent because I would still go the other way, but I understand that point of view. I'm at a point where I've thought the season's been over for weeks as it is. But what I would do is I saw Armstead break down again. Patrick Paul's the future, right? He's starting next year. I would already make the switch. I would start Patrick Paul. You say you want physical disposition. I want physical disposition. Patrick Paul, That's all he's all about, physical disposition. Put his big ass pushing some people downfield, and maybe you could start running downhill. You could use Armstead if he's healthy, maybe you can alternate him in and keep him there and keep him in the mix. But I would start with Patrick Paul. And then you want to change your disposition? Bro, Mostert was out today. You weren't running. Jalen Wright is sitting there, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't you using Jalen Wright if you want to be a little bit more physical?
Yeah.
So moving forward, because Mostert's not the future either, moving forward, I would use both guys more.
I would say this, if I'm in that locker room and I don't see Teron Armstead out there, it would be like if you would have traded Calais Campbell. I would think you're giving up on the season. Give us our best chance to win, and that's Teron Armstead. I mean, this guy is a team captain. He's one of the best players. He's maybe your best leader. I hear what you're saying, but that would be a tough sell in the locker room. To sit Teron down, guys would look around and go, this isn't our best team. This isn't our best offensive line. This isn't our best chance to win. This is the organization looking out for next year, and you've still got some tread on the tire this year. So, if you lose next week, maybe you start doing that. Right now, if you're convincing these guys that we're serious about our playoff hopes and making a push, you've got to put your best players out there on that field. That's Teron Armstead.
Can the young guy play?
I think maybe we haven't seen enough though. I think maybe, but we haven't seen enough.
Is that how you want to start next season?
It's how you want to finish this season. That's the more important thing. And I will want to finish this season giving myself my best chance to make the playoffs up until the very, very end. And that's having Teron Armstead out there.
An injured Teron Armstead, a hobbling Teron Armstead.
Yep. Yeah. No, Big O. I think this is one of those deals where, 70% Teron is better than 100% of Patrick Paul, and you're going to get a better effort from everybody else on that field. If you pull Teron off that field, everybody's going to look around and go, well, we've given up. Like, we're looking toward next year. We don't think we have a chance this year, and that's when players are going to fracture. That's when you're going to get these little coalitions of teams and people, whispering. Right now, everybody is together. Everybody is like, we know that it's a long shot, but we're trying. We're going to give our best. You pull Teron, you're not getting that effort.
Oh, man. The way I see Patrick Paul play so far, I got to look at it again this week to see how he played, but I don't see like the start of Austin Jackson's career or Eichenberg.
Well, I'll tell you this, that before
where it was a disaster.
Well, before it kind of almost was, because when we asked about Patrick Paul before, it was just kind of like, he's making progress. Well, he gives a good effort. These coaches, Frank Smith and Mike McDaniel, it's a glowing over the top assessment of everybody that it's way over the top, unnecessarily over the top. And for Patrick Paul, they were saying, well, he's learning. It's a growing experience. And you were like, they didn't like his film. So what he's done since then, I don't know, but I just think if I'm in that locker room, if I'm on that team, if I'm on that offensive line, and I know that Teron can play and he's not playing, I'm going to think the coaches have given up on this season. And so why am I going to bust my butt for the rest of this season? They've given up,
It's understandable. It makes sense. That's what Ferona said too. While you're still in it, you got to keep Teron. But he agreed with the Jalen Wright one.
Yeah, Jalen is interesting because tonight he comes in and there's the play where Tua threw it to him and he lined up on the wrong side and they had to make him go over and get back to the correct side, and then they throw the pass to him and he drops it. I don't know that they completely trust Jalen Wright. His talent is clear, right? I mean, this is a guy who moves the pile and he runs with power and everything. I like his talent. I'm not sure if he's he might still be a September rookie as opposed to a December rookie. You know what I'm saying?
No, I got you.
Yeah. The growth might not be exactly where they want it to be for a team that considers itself in a playoff hunt.
I'm with you there. All right.
His talent is there.
What are you putting together in the Sun Sentinel so folks can check you out?
You know, one thing I want to do about Big O is a Teron Armstead feature. He's got a charity benefit tomorrow. He had one last week, kind of an entrepreneurial thing that he's working with high school students with. Tomorrow, I think it's him, Jalen Waddle, and Calais Campbell. So I want to do something special on Teron, and today is kind of that example, right? That I've been saying I need to get this done. Who knows? And I'm not trying to be morbid. Who knows how long the guy has? And so that's one thing that I want to do. I mean, this is a special guy on and off the field, and so I want to do something on his off the field stuff. And so that's what I'm going to be working on this week, Big O.
Yeah, he is special, dude. I feel terrible for Calais Campbell that he came here.
Yes.
And the team did not reward him with what he thought was going to be a team that, had some potential to be a contender. And he's played his ass off, dude.
Yep.
He's such a
Great
monster.
find.
Zach,
Great find. Yep.
God, dude, I feel terrible for him,
Yep.
He deserves better.
He does. He really does. You talk about a class act. I mean, that's Calais Campbell.
Yeah. All right. Follow him on Twitter at Chris Perk. And, of course, reach out to our guys at ejdconstruction.com. Eric and all the great people at EJD Construction. They've been at this for 20 years. They got a AAA plus rating from the Better Business Bureau, 305-433-4843. Custom home construction and major home remodeling. And, of course, they are fully insured liability and workers' comp, so you never have to worry. Reach out to them. And, of course, 305-433-4843.
You've been listening to the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins post-game report with the Sun Sentinel's Chris Perkins. For additions, home remodeling, and custom work, call Eric at 305-433-4843. EJDconstruction.com is the custom home builder and contractor you can trust. 305-433-4843.
All right. Let's see. While 31-14 people don't talk enough about Stafford, man, that guy can sling it. Yeah, he's got a terrific arm. It's funny because, again, choker, coming up short, that was his thing in Detroit. And then he changed his perception with the Rams. Environment. It was a bad environment in Detroit for 50 years until Man Campbell took over. Jared Goff, somehow or another, he didn't fit the Rams. He didn't find himself until he got to Detroit. It's weird shit sometimes. You can't ask, you can't answer, you can't explain it, but sometimes players are better than what you think they are, but unfortunately, they haven't either developed yet, they haven't figured it out. The light hasn't gone on. Drew Brees, first couple years was a disaster. Light went on that final year in San Diego, and then the rest was history for him. He was a disaster the first couple of years, like unwatchable. Like how some of you talk about Tua while he's in the MVP race and you think he can't play. Well, Brees literally was a disaster. And then light went on, figured it out. Just kind of the way it is. Russell Wilson, he just works better in Pittsburgh than he did in Denver. Can't explain it. Just one of those things. And it happens with players at times, the maturity or the experience or the system. And that helps them to succeed. I remember Deion Branch. He won the Super Bowl MVP, I believe, with the Patriots. He goes to Seattle and signs a big old free agent contract and was a bust. Goes back to New England and I think helps him win a Super Bowl and everything. He was productive again. Why? Because they knew how to use him there. It's weird like that. Sometimes you can't explain it. And that's why, with Tua, to me, he's a perfect example of a team that hasn't really understood what they have and how to use it. And that's where Mike McDaniel has screwed up royally. You know. By the way, just to give you a couple scores around the NFL for those of you that may not be watching, Seahawks are leading. Speaking of former Jet, Seahawks leading 27-18, end of the third. 6 minutes left in the third. Rams are all over the Bills, 31-14 at home. Niners are all over the Bears, 24-6 with 4:59 in the third. Tonight we got the Chargers at the Chiefs. Let's see, what else do we have? Finals. Jags beat the Titans 10-6. Miami beat the Jags, luckily beat the Jags and lost to the Titans. Think about that. 10-6. Vikings beat the Falcons 42-21. Vikings improved to 11-2. Saints over the Giants 14-11. Eagles over the Panthers 22-16. Eagles are now 11-2. Steelers over the Browns 27-14. The Steelers with Russell Wilson are 10-3. Okay? 10-3. Buccaneers over the Raiders 28-13. The Bucs are 7-8 with that win. But going back to that game, Russell Wilson was 15 of 26, 158 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Clean football, nothing special. Jameis Winston, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Oh, Jameis Winston. Some things never change with Jameis Winston. And by the way, the Heat are leading the Cavs right now with 6:34 left in the first, 13-6. All right. Edwin Robles says, any given Sunday, Dolphins beat the Rams and the Bills losing to the Rams. Yep. Kosa says, it's all about coaching. McDaffie is not an actual coach. State Ton. Bernie says, I can tell Perkins don't watch football. They play coverage and kept getting beat. What the hell are you talking about? True Fin Fan says, looks like the Bills are going to have to go to Kansas City in the playoffs. Oh, to win in Kansas. Yeah, probably. Yep. Shuggy Wuggy is in the house. JT says, funny how Harbaugh came in within months and has the Chargers playing meaningful football all the way over 500. For now, things are going all right. We'll see how it continues with good old Harbaugh. Nice, I would call it a nice first season for Mr. Harbaugh so far. Good start. It's terrible ownership. He has to overcome that too, because that won't be easy, overcoming terrible ownership that doesn't necessarily prove that they want to spend on a consistent basis. And he's going to require them to spend at one point. And you see what happens with the Bengals. Well, the Brown family and the Spanos family, it's kind of the same shit. You know, they just may look a little different. They have different names, but it's kind of the same thing. So it's one of those things that you gotta see. We will find out down the line. All right, folks, we thank Chris Perkins. We thank David Furones. We thank the great Sean Stanley. We thank all of you for tuning in, supporting those of you that made a donation, Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal. You can use the QR codes for Cash App or Venmo. That's Cash Big O Show. Visit our amazing sponsors who are always ready to help you out. Cutter's Edge Pro, Big Cheese, of course. So many of our great sponsors. So please visit our sponsors: Caneswear, Sloman's, Acura Pembroke Pines, EJD Construction, Hialeah Park, Baptist Health, R&M Contractors, Welton Rayom, just great sponsors. Please support the great sponsors that support us. We shall see you tomorrow morning, same time, same place, same bat channel.
You've been listening to our Dolphins post-game show with Big O. The broadcast is brought to you by Welton Rayom, Acura of Pembroke Pines, Hialeah Park Casino, RM Contractors, Toyota of Hollywood, Haineswear, Sloman's Home Security, BigCheeseMiami.com, EJD Construction. The broadcast is mastered by executive producer Sean Stanley. Thank you for supporting the platform and our fantastic sponsors. Go Fins!